Hey, welcome to Three Count Commentaries. It's your boy Mongo Slade. Let's talk about Impact because I have to give the Warthog some credit, and I really don't want to, but I got to be fair. I got to give the Warthog some credit. Starting a new gimmick this week. We're gonna do a Forbidden Door count. See how many times Tony Khan uses the word Forbidden Door. And this episode of Impact was blah, just like every other episode of Impact. Just it's kind of just there, and it starts out hot, which is usually the case with Impact. You get the first 5 or 10 minutes is pretty fucking good, and then for the rest of the show, you're basically you're begging for scraps. It's like you get that first hit of some coke, and you're like, oh okay, and then you're coming back scratching like, hey, what's going on, baby? But the first match was a triple threat match, number one contender for the X Division title. Black Taurus, Chris Bay, and Ace Austin. This match was pretty fucking good. It was fun. This show was bookended by triple threat matches. You had the women's triple threat match for literally no reason in the main event of the show, which that should have started the show, and this should have closed the show. But they started the show with these guys. Obviously, it was the two smaller guys working on Taurus to keep him, distracted. But it was a fun match, fast-paced, as usual. Ace Austin ends up winning with the fold on Chris Bay after some slight interference from Madman Fulton. So Ace Austin is the number one contender for the X Division title, which is, okay, cool. That's fine. I'm 100% in on that. I'm a big fan of Ace Austin. I don't like the idea of Taurus losing right now. And if we're going to just give Ace Austin the number one contendership, could have done something different with Chris Bay. Chris Bay has a lot of potential. These guys have a lot of potential. Chris Bay, if he's not going to be the champion, X Division champion again, he needs to go and do something else. Okay, he needs to. This is a bad thing about this crossover shit, because now they're bringing in tag teams from AEW. They're bringing in tag teams from New Japan. They're not making their own tag teams. Because Chris Bay should just have a partner and go for the tag team titles. Because he's lost these number one contendership matches over and over again. It's like at some point you got to move him to a different division. So, but his options are limited. His options are shit. Because it's just X Division or bust. They're not pushing him towards the main event, the world title, because they've already got that set. So, what are you going to do with Chris Bay? So, you get a promo where Jordan Grace and Jazz blamed Deonna Purrazzo for beating up ODB the previous week. For some unknown reason, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan came out there to brag about being the tag team champions, which led to Jordan Grace saying, oh, we should make it a triple threat match, because she was supposed to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo one-on-one. And then for some reason, she decided to add another opponent to the match. And she ended up, of course, successfully doing so. Later, let's just talk about the women's division, because since we're here. Deonna Purrazzo basically admitted to beating up ODB and basically saying she's the virtuoso, so she can do whatever she wants. And she ends up winning the triple threat match. It was the triple threat match with Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, and Kiera Hogan. This match was for nothing. Nothing was on the line. It wasn't a title match. It was just a match. And so Deonna Purrazzo wins. Jordan Grace was about to hit the Vader bomb on Kiera Hogan. Tasha Steelz put her out of the ring. That means Jordan Grace hit the mat, boom, and as she was selling it, and she basically got rolled up from behind by Deonna Purrazzo. Then the show goes off the air with ODB beating up Deonna Purrazzo and lifting the Knockouts Championship in the air. The match made no sense. Didn't need to be the main event of the show. Should have been the first match. And you could have did all of the build up to that on before the Impact stuff. Or you could have put it in I don't mind the idea of having 2 triple threat matches on the show. Whatever, but you had one match that had meaning to it. You had another one that didn't. Even though you can argue Deonna Purrazzo was the biggest star featuring in any one of these matches, you still had a triple threat match for no reason. That match should have gone on first. It just could have gone on first, and then let the match with some stakes be the reason people stick around instead of people watching the first 15 minutes and being like, okay, well, there's nothing else on this show to watch. Because that's literally almost what happened. So we get Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. We could talk about them since we're here. So Brian Myers is, he coming in being real fake, talking about Matt Cardona, how great the podcast has been and how everything is going fantastic. And, obviously Matt Cardona catches on and is like, okay, what's going on? So then Brian Myers is like, hey, I'm glad you're the referee. And Matt Cardona says, oh, look, we'll call it right down the middle. So this was kind of funny. Brian Myers was like, can you call it right down the middle-ish? And Matt was like, no, anything else would be unprofessional. Kind of being funny. So the match was Brian Myers versus Eddie Edwards. And Matt Cardona was a terrible referee because he moved like he was underwater. You never really realize how a good referee can really bolster a match or make things feel good, feel fast paced until you see bad referees. Like ECW referees. Fucking horrible. ECW had the worst referees I've ever seen in wrestling. Well, yeah. ECW referees are the worst. They are the worst. I'm talking like they would blow a finish. I'm talking like you would see normal counts, and then when they know the finish is coming, they automatically start counting faster. Fuck the ECW referees. And I've been on that for 20 years. ECW referees were the shits. Matt Cardona was just the shits. I mean, he wasn't an ECW referee bad, though. But guest refs almost always bad because these are guys who've never refereed matches before. And most of the time they have. And refereeing is a skill. You have to learn it. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But anyway, you never really notice how bad this referees are until they're really, really bad. Cardona was bad. But the match ends with Brian Myers loading his elbow pad to do his lariat finisher. He did it right in front of Matt. And Matt was like, what are you doing? And he was like, just count it. And then Cardona was like, I'm not counting that. And he disqualified him. So then Brian, of course, got mad that Matt Cardona disqualified him instead of just going with it and letting him get a win over Eddie Edwards. And they told a decent little story there where, Matt Cardona wouldn't turn his back to Brian Myers, where Myers was, kind of pissed. And Cardona wanted to check on Eddie Edwards, who was knocked unconscious by the lariat. But he didn't want to turn around. So he kept peeking over his shoulder, showing that he didn't trust him. These guys have been friends for 18 years or 20 years or whatever. And now they don't trust each other. Brian Myers wants him to be openly biased. And this is after Brian Myers and Hernandez beat up Matt Cardona, right? Like, that's dumb. You could have reversed these two things. Take your time with this stuff. But you had Brian Myers basically being a douche from the beginning. It's kind of like, why would he expect Matt to help him? Why? For what reason? That's stupid. You beat the guy up. You let the guy get beat up. You paid somebody to beat him up. And now you expect to, come on, man. The fuck out of here. So, the next segment was Tennille Dashwood, who defeated Havoc. That was the second match on the show. Havoc could not have spoiled the finish more. Look, in wrestling, there's a thing called feeding, where you basically give your body to your opponent. Havoc fed the finish. I mean, just fed the fuck out of the finish. And I don't know if Tennille Dashwood blew it, but Havoc stood with her head poked out, bent over, for what seemed like 2 minutes before Tennille Dashwood kicked it. Tennille Dashwood's finish is called the Spotlight. I call it the Spotlight kick. It's basically the Claymore. She bounced off the ropes and comes with like a one-leg kick. And Havoc was in position for that kick forever. Like she was being, brainwashed into standing there. Oh. It was so bad. It was so bad. That sucked. Come on, she stunk the joint up. Come on. Anyway, finally something good happened. Sami Callihan went to go visit Trey Miguel's training school in Toledo, Ohio. It's called Skull and Bones. Apparently, Trey Miguel owns this place. He runs it with his trainer, CK3. And so you had Sami Callihan walking through this place, basically talking about, hey, this is where, Trey Miguel train students, but how can he train people with no passion? And this is actually when I realized something. When he was walking through there, looking at the pictures at first, and there was a picture of the Rascals, Trey, Miguel, Wentz, and Dez. And he says, like, you remember these guys? You remember the Rascals? And he says that, they probably don't remember Trey because they left him behind and kicked him to the curb because he didn't have any passion. And I kept figuring out, like, why did he keep saying that? And then it occurred to me, like, it's like a light bulb went off, that's what Triple H said. This whole storyline is because Triple H said, when he kept getting asked why Trey Miguel didn't come in with the other guys, Triple H said that you have to really want to be here. You have to really, really want to do this. And, you can't half-ass it. You have to go all in. So basically he was saying Trey Miguel didn't have the passion, didn't have the, determination that the other guys did. And that, but he kept saying, like, the door is open, but you got to have the passion. You have to really want it. And that's where they got this storyline from. And it fucked my head up. Because I was sitting here thinking, like, why do he keep saying this? And I know I heard it somewhere before. And this is like the fourth week. Now I feel like I'm super slow. Like I'm really low IQ. Because I should have caught on to it immediately. But I don't pay attention to everything Triple H says. I really don't. Because Triple H is like half bullshitting most of the time. But he did say that Trey Miguel, because Trey Miguel was talking about, I got to take care of my nephew. And, you have to understand, I just can't be leaving right now, yada, yada, yada. He had legitimate real life responsibilities from what he tweeted out after Triple H basically said he didn't have any passion. And that's why Sami Callihan is saying that he has no passion. So that kicked, like, I already liked the storyline because I like the idea of Sami Callihan basically challenging Trey Miguel to, trying to, giving him brain worms, putting a chip on his shoulder. I like that, even though I don't like Sami Callihan. So this really took the storyline to the next level because obviously we saw, that, the Rascals, he basically talked about them saying that they kicked him to the curb rather than he kind of just didn't go in when they went in. So as he's walking through the place, Sami Callihan, of course, he has his own camera team. He's doing his bleepity bleep static stuff. And he's beating up people. He's running into various people because it's a training school, so there's students in there. And he's beating them up. By himself, by the way, which is pretty cool. So, like, he's going in there just bullying all the students, beating all the students up. And then he runs into, and he's looking for Trey. He claims he's looking for Trey. So he's like, where's Trey? Beating him up, boom, boom, boom. And he ends up talking to CK3, who has a cane. Which was really sympathetic to get this guy with this cane. And Sami Callihan's like, where's Trey? Trey's not here. He said, Trey's out of town. That's what the guy told Sami Callihan earlier. Trey's out of town. So Sami Callihan beat the guy up. He asked CK3, where's Trey? CK3 says, it's Tuesday, so he's at the TV tapings. And then Sami Callihan's like, oh yeah, so that's where I was supposed to be today. I thought that was pretty cool. Like he knew he wasn't there, right? So they start arguing, and he's telling CK3, I have no idea who this guy is. He's like, is this where you taught Trey Miguel, and where you sucked the passion out of him or whatever, and you taught him to quit, you told him to give up? Yeah, that's what he says. So you taught him, this is where you taught him to quit, where you taught him to give up and to be a loser and all this type of stuff. So CK3's like, you think you're getting inside of Trey Miguel's mind? He's in your head, man. He's in your head so deep, you're thinking about him all the time. And then he said that he was a loser and all this type of stuff. So CK3 says, so look, I might not have the money or the notoriety you have, but I gave everything to the wrestling business. And all you do is take. And so Sami Callihan, of course, beat him up. And he beat up the guy with the cane. He beat up a bunch of students that came in to kind of help him. He grabbed the guys. He put his face on a chair, this upright chair. And he put his face on the chair and he had his foot on his neck. And it was like he was about to hit the guy with his own cane across the back of the head with this. And it was about to look real brutal. So then some guy comes in with like a Scott Steiner mullet. I have no idea. Ohio. You know, that's the only thing I can say is it's Ohio. Ohio shit. Straight up Ohio shit. Anyway, guy comes in with his 1989 mullet. His name is Sam Beal. And Sami Callihan's like, oh, you're the guy I came to see. You're the guy that I came to see. I came to save you from Trey Miguel, you know, from Trey Miguel's lack of passion. I can teach you, you know, how to be successful. And the guy's like looking around at all of his comrades and stuff that's on the ground, and he's just like, you know, listening. He's like, okay. So him and Sami Callihan leave together. And I thought that was a great segment. I thought it was a good segment. So we're taking it to the next level. We've started. It's getting personal with them going to the training school. That's really good. You got Sami Callihan beating up everybody in the training school, so you're showing that he's tough, that he's maniacal. He's obsessed with Trey Miguel, obviously. And then he's actually went in there and he's sort of found a weak link, somebody he can manipulate, which is what he wants. You know, Sami Callihan is a manipulator. He found somebody he can manipulate, and now he's got another piece, you know, to toy with, you know, because he can't take the school with him. So he take one of Trey Miguel's students and he's gonna flip him, you know. So that's pretty cool. Got to get a Warthog credit on this one, right? This was pretty fucking sweet. This was the best thing on the show all week, believe it or not. Better than Swingers Palace, because Swingers Palace featured a lot of TJP. So let's get right into that. Swingers Palace this week had TJP. He's sitting in there. You know, they do so much trying to make TJP cool. You know, they really do. So TJP is sitting in there, and Alicia Edwards is talking about, oh, this is an illegal casino, but it's so cool. It's a really nice place. And TJP's like, oh, well, I've seen worse. You know, like I've been in worse places. So he starts talking about, well, Ace Austin's the number one contender for his title. So what's the odds on his match with Ace Austin? And Ace Austin comes in and he's saying, yeah, hey, don't never bet against me, never bet against the Ace. And TJP gets money from Johnny Bravo. And he's like, well, I bet him that you would say that. And he's like, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah. And he says that, well, he said something else to him, and Johnny Bravo gave TJP some more money. Basically that TJP had predicted how this whole conversation was going to go. So again, Chris Bay comes in because he starts talking like, hey, you wouldn't have beaten me without help from he called him a futon. He called Madman Fulton a futon. And then they got into each other's face. And then Ace Austin was like, what's your policy about fighting around here? Because they was just about to start fighting, right? So then Ace Austin noticed that Alicia Edwards was there. Now, if you remember, Ace Austin had did this long, fantastic storyline where he was hitting on Alicia Edwards. He was trying his best to bang this woman. That's when I started becoming a fan, is when he was trying to bang Alicia Edwards. But he was like, what a girl like you doing in a place like this? He hit it, a little hair flip and everything. It was so funny. And she was like rolling her eyes like, ugh, you're so gross. Anyway, Swinger didn't want them fighting because he wanted to bet on the fight. So it's going to be, he was like, he sent Johnny Bravo to get the match made. I guess it's Ace Austin and Chris Bay, or Chris Bay and Madman Fulton or something. I don't remember who the fight was going to be. But, you know, TJP was like, oh, the ultimate finesser got finessed. So it was okay this week. It wasn't hilarious. But the picture of Johnny Bravo Johnny Swinger riding the horse. Oh, it's fantastic. It's great. Johnny Swinger on that horse is great. That's a fantastic fucking picture. I love that picture. Oh, I was kind of disappointed because we didn't get no James Storm or no Chris Sabin this week. But they need to make this area bigger. You know, they need to make the illegal club bigger. It's like a broom closet. You know, it's like everybody's stacked on top of each other in this place. They need to make it like a big area where, you know, you see other people mingling around and it feels like everybody is talking and maybe like there's music playing, you know, maybe get a DJ in there or something, you know, make it a whole thing. Like they put more effort into Wrestle House, which fucking sucked, than they put into Swingers Palace, which is awesome. This is the problem. More of the good shit, less of the bad shit. So we get VBD, Violent by Design. They have to punish Diener because Diener lost to Jake, and that was part of the deal. If he got beat by Jake in a tables match, he would have to get punished. So he went into the dark room where Doring, what the fuck is his name? I was about to call him Danny Doring. Shit, Joe Doring, beat the hell out of him, and Eric Young says, "Hey, look, the sickness is coming back. We have to do this. We do this because we care. We gotta show you, you know, that the disease is out to get you, and you got to fight back the disease." So then we get Tony Khan's paid ad where he said the forbidden door 6 times. I counted. I have a forbidden door counter. That's going to be my thing from now on. I'm doing a forbidden door counter. Every time he says the words forbidden door, I am going to strike it. He said it 6 times this week. And it wasn't until they ran down the card for Dynamite and Revolution I realized how much money that guy is spending on this 1 week of AEW. The guy's got Big Show, guys got Shaq, guys got Sting. You know, like guys just throwing money all over the place in this joint. But this is the important thing that came out of that whole paid ad. So he starts talking about, hey, you know, Impact, we may have our disagreements, but you're one of us. New Japan, you're with us. And he kept saying like, you know, they're us. Us is us, you know, our group. And it's us versus them. And I don't need to know, I don't need to tell you who they are. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he starts talking about how, you know, Impact used to be the leader. Before there was an AEW, Impact, you were the leader of this. But now I'm here. I'm the leader. I'm the captain. And that is in the past. But we're on the same side. I'm like, what? This dude was basically talking about invading and going to war with Impact just last week. I guess Tommy Dreamer's promo on Twitter must have really smartened him up about, you know, how he should stop dissing Impact, because he started bigging Impact up, because if you're going to be competing with them and, you know, that type of stuff. Look, this Tony Khan shit ran out a long time ago. It's not interesting anymore. You know, it's not novel. It's not new. He just keeps spamming about being the forbidden door. Most people don't know what the fuck that means. How is a man a door? You know, anybody can come into AEW whenever they want. I'm like, whatever, bro. Who fuck cares? You know, like, who cares? We got 2 video packages from Moose and Rich Swann. Moose basically was talking about, hey, you know, the problem was never with Rich Swann. The problem was that I was never seen as being a real world champion, and I should be seen as a real world champion. And Rich Swann basically talked about, well, this is his opportunity to become, you know, a real world champion. And he is a real world champion. It's his opportunity to solidify himself as a real world champion. And I was like, you two fools are fighting for nothing. Nobody cares about either one of you. But hopefully Moose wins. The third match on the show, I know I'm almost half hour into the video, and I want to get into the third match. The Good Brothers plus Finn Juice versus Triple XL and Reno Scum. And I couldn't want to watch a match less. I could not muster the energy to care about this match. For starters, David Finlay is in this match. Secondly, Reno Scum is in this match. Thirdly, Triple XL is in this match. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. What in the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Baby, what are you doing? I can't watch this. I cannot watch dry toast ass David Finlay and bumfuck ass Reno Scum. and Triple XL fucking suck. I don't care about the Good Brothers that much to sit through this. Thankfully, it was pretty short. Anyway, the teams argue after, of course, Finn Juice and the Good Brothers won. They kind of competed to celebrate. You know, the Good Brothers wanted to celebrate. Finn Juice wanted to argue. Later, we find out that Finn Juice is complaining that they nearly lost because of the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers are like, look, what are you talking about? We won because we hit the Magic Killer. We won. They're being obnoxious. They're being very juvenile, too. Like, the Good Brothers are like, they're being very juvenile. Like, people thought, like, the DX was being really juvenile, and they were, like, in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. These guys are closer to 40. In fact, both of these guys are over 40, if I remember correctly, unless Gallows is like 38 or something like that. And they're very juvenile. And that's obnoxious. It is obnoxious. Anyway, Finn Juice said like they nearly lost because of them. So Luke Gallows said, why don't you guys just go back to being our young boys and getting us some beers and carrying our bags? So David Finlay and Juice Robinson was upset, and they talked some more trash, and then they said, how about this? How about, you guys fight us at Sacrifice for the tag team titles? And they were like, okay. And then I guess that was the plan for David Finlay and Juice Robinson to piss these guys off to the point where they would give them a title match. And so what? Who cares? Who cares about any of these people? Who cares? And that's Impact for the week. Swinger's Palace was okay. That picture of Johnny Swinger on a horse is a fucking win. It is victory. Defined, like visible victory. Impact sucks because the talent roster isn't any good. And they refuse to actually do anything about that. They refuse to sign anybody. And if they do bring somebody in, they let them get away. I know AEW was really killing them. NXT too. Because there was a lot of guys that NXT signed up. Not the older talent like Taya, but the Blake Christians. And I think that Casey Navarro, who I said that Impact really should have signed, he's pretty much been on AEW, I believe. Like, they need some fresh faces. They need some fresh energy flowing through this show. And Finju says they don't got it. They're not consistent enough. They're not on the show enough. Just like House Party, Private Party. It's like you borrowing some toys. Like, you can play with them, that's fine, but ultimately they're just borrowed toys. You have to give them back eventually. And that's really what problem here is. The toys that they have in their own box are not interesting. From the top down, who in Impact is interesting other than Johnny Swinger? Johnny Swinger's fucking funny, and he makes everybody else around him funny. Ace Austin is good. They barely use him. Chris Bay is good. They barely use him. But I'm subjected to fucking Susan every week and Triple XL every fucking week. Come on. Tennille Dashwood went a long stretch without wrestling, so I'm not even going to complain about her wrestling every week. But, they need to do more interesting things, and they're just not doing it. It's not getting done. And maybe they're just expecting this whole AEW thing to be enough. It's not. Trust me. It ain't enough. They need to do more, because this show continues to be mediocre. If you skipped it, so what? You missed nothing. You can just find Swingers Palace on TV or find the Sami Callihan video, which was amazing. It was really good. Find that on TV. There's the matches. If you like the guys that are in the match, they're possible to find them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to see anything except Swingers Palace and the Sami Callihan video, which I liked, But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. I thank you guys for your time. Use the hashtag 3commentaries to support the channel. Also, if you would like to send me cash because you appreciate what I do, then please do so by visiting the Cash App below. Buy me lunch to feed my shawarma addiction, because I'm trying to stay away from white bread. So pita bread is so much better, so much healthier. But thank you guys, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.